Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show hosted by a basement dweller who grew up scrounging terrible fan subs on sketchy websites prior to the convenience of modern streaming, alongside a willfully ignorant soul whose only knowledge of anime comes from the shows forced upon him here. This show will contain spoilers, incorrect information, and copious amounts of adult language. Our hosts are not experts on any topic, and everything they say should be taken with a grain of salt. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes... I just forgot my intro for a second. What the fuck? What the fuck?
Rewind. Take two.
Take two. Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And I disagree with your love of Levi Ackerman, but I will fight with my life for your right to say it.
I'm Shaun Rollins.
And I'm Remington Chase.
Oh god, people who don't listen to the pre-banter think you're just blindly attacking Attack on Titan fans.
There's context behind it, but only our patrons know.
Hell yeah. But yeah, Remington. How you feeling, bud? I haven't checked in with you for a while. I just want to know how you doing. Life's busy. Things are, it's holiday season, so things are always a little bit crazy. But good. Yeah, stressed but good, I would say. Okay, that's nice. That is the thing about the holidays, is they're stressful, but like the end results are usually what make it worthwhile, you know?
Yeah.
So Remington, with that in mind, speaking of stress,
here we go. Here we are.
Remington, what we're doing today is probably one of the most stressful times researching anime I've ever had.
Oh?
And not because of like the usual things like the show is bad or the show makes me want to die or it's so insanely requested that I'm worried that you're going to get us killed. No, Remington, the reason I'm stressed is because I might be doing something a little naughty this week.
Oh, you naughty boy!
It's a little bit naughty, and it's a little bit of a middle finger to our audience.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, fuck those guys. Fuck those people who support us so lovingly.
Hey now. I love our audience, and I am grateful for all the support we get. But, Remington,
fuck them. I feel like you're on your like actively antagonistic to our audience art right now. Like frankly for the past like few months, where there's been like sprinkled in things they've loved, but there's been so many that people are like, why are you ignoring us for these shows?
Well, the answer was stress and exhaustion at the time, but This time it's more deliberate. I'm gonna be honest. And don't get me wrong, it's not gonna be like the others. The reason that this is gonna piss off some people is because, well, some people wanted us to never cover this show. Some people really want us to cover this show.
Okay.
And the rest are scared for us to cover this show.
Interesting.
But the biggest reason that this is kind of a fuck you to our audience, a loving fuck you, mind, is because, Remington, it's the holiday season. And past couple of years, everybody's been staging our audience has staged a coup in the name of charity. Yeah, they've organized it through our Patreon and through our Discord as well as other places to get people to unite and trying to get us to cover a specific show they want for our Christmas episode. And it's been great. It's been wonderful. It's been, a lovely show of companionship in our community, as well as, it's donating to a good cause, usually birds. And it's wonderful and great. But the thing is, Remington, they do all of their planning in our Discord, so I see what they're planning.
Yeah.
And what they're planning this year, Rem, I did not want to do for our Christmas special. Simply due to the fact that, oh god, it'll feel a bit like an Angel Beats Part 2, and I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Oh, shit.
So...
Are you saying fuck the birds?
I'm not saying fuck the birds,
Excuse me, sir. On broadcast right now, are you saying fuck the birds?
I'm not saying fuck the birds, Remington. I'm saying fuck you guys. Pick a different anime because we're doing that one now.
Oh, okay. All right. Holy shit.
Yeah, they can pick a different anime, or they can leave it up to me to decide because I have a good idea or two.
Fuck.
But no, fuck that. I don't want to cover this on Christmas because I don't know if I'll have the emotional capacity to. So we're gonna fucking do it now. Because Remington, it's been a long time coming. It's been fucking 5 years in the making. I've had this prep since day fucking one, but I've been scared to show it to you because at first we had no way of watching it legally because it wasn't legal to watch in the States for years at a time. And when they finally did bring it over, there was so much hype and request for it that I was like, oh god, it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. And it's hard for me to decide how much for you to watch. There's just been so many factors that prevented me from covering it, and since they're like, all right, we're gonna force them this year, I say nay. I make my own story, and we're doing it fucking now. Because Remington, this week, we're covering one of the most popular anime of all time. We are covering the 1995 hit cult classic, Neon Genesis Evangelion.
God damn. Now, let me tell you what I know about this one, Shaun.
By all means.
Number one, it has Best Girl, according to me, 5.5 years ago.
Correct, yes.
5.5 years ago, in episode 5, when we did Toradora, I said that the best tsundere was Asuka.
Correct.
Just so I could be a contrarian bitch.
Yes.
Now we'll finally see how that holds up. Second of all, it's kind of Gundam?
It is very much a mecha anime, Remington.
Yeah.
But it's very much not Gundam. The really only thing they have in common is young kids getting in big robots to fight things. And that's kind of where the similarities end.
I'm a level with you. Isn't that all Gundam is?
No, there's more to it. There's like sci-fi, political stuff, and a little bit of interpersonal drama here and there. You know, it's different. It depends on which Gundam series you cover, really. Whether it's the one with the orphans or the one with, like, the Nazis that aren't Nazis. You know, like, it just depends.
Do you prefer Orphan Gundam or Nazi Gundam?
Look, man, you gotta make a choice in this environment. And
there are two genders, Orphan and Nazi.
Oh, Christ. God. And I think I said back when we did our Gundam episode that I think the Orphan one was my favorite. I don't know if that still holds up. But who knows? Maybe we'll cover it one day and we'll see. But no, Remington, today we're talking about Evangelion. And all you know is Asuka and that it's got big mechas.
Yep.
Nothing else? That's all you got?
I don't think I know anything else.
Okay, that's fair.
I feel like I should know more, but I don't think I do.
The reason you feel like you should know more, Remington, is it's because it's one of the most iconic IPs to come out of Japan. Neon Genesis Evangelion is one of the reasons that anime is as popular in the West as it is today. Because for a lot of people, it was a gateway anime that also features truly dark and twisted storytelling and messed up characters and goals and things of that nature, while also having iconic designs and iconic moments and iconic action. It is, suffice to say, Remington, it is one of the most influential properties to come out of Japan ever. Like, if Pokemon is at the top of everything, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Evangelion was in the top 10.
Oh, okay.
Because to this day, like, this came out originally in 1995, Remington. And it was an original anime. It wasn't, like, adapted from a source or anything.
Wow.
Yeah. And it is often referred to as a mecha psychological thriller.
Ooh, all right. Okay.
Because while on the surface, you look at it and you see, okay, big robots fighting weird, fucked up looking monsters and people wearing skin-tight bodysuits. Like, okay, that sounds pretty straightforward and action-y. The real meat of the show is primarily dealing with the political backgrounds and psychological torture that these kids go through, primarily inflicted on them by the Nerve organization and the whole situation as a whole. Because it's one of those situations where, hey, we have these things that we can fight these giant monsters that are actively destroying the world, but the only people we can get to pilot them are essentially teenagers. And I don't know if you know this, Remington, but putting something as hormonally imbalanced as a teenager in charge of protecting the world kind of leads to a lot of bad decisions on both the organization's faults, the kids themselves, and, like, this show itself is praised and beloved for being an interesting character exploration into the dark nature of what a sci-fi mech experience can be, and the idea of getting a young protagonist in the situation.
And so, with all this praise, what you're worried about is that I will come in and absolutely trash it. And you didn't think that was the holiday spirit to have me break everybody's hearts for Christmas again.
Correct. There's that aspect, as well as the fact that while it is incredibly praised and beloved, and I also love it, I have a strong history with it and soft spot for it for obvious reasons. I mean, after all, I have my history. What makes this one very difficult for me to cover is the fact that I recognize all of the problems it has very plainly. So everything you say is going to be things that I've known about for years, and other people have known about for years, and people are going to still be upset at it. The problem is whether or not you see the good things in it as well. Because I'm going to be honest with you, Remington, you're going to flat out hate the main character. A lot of people do. Because he is a hormonal, whiny teenager who does not...
the main character is a guy?
Yeah.
I thought it was Asuka.
You thought it was Asuka? See, and that's the other thing, Remington, is it's up to you whether or not we see Asuka today. I forgot to mention.
What the fuck? What in the...
Because Asuka doesn't show up until episode 8, dog.
What?
Yeah.
Who the fuck is this protagonist I've never fucking heard of? Who the fuck is this jabroni?
That would be Shinji Ikari.
What the fuck?
Yeah, Shinji. He is the main protagonist and the son of the director of the organization combating these angels, as they're called. And he has been selected to pilot one of the mechas to fight these angels, and he is one of the only people that can. And the reason that people have a hard time getting into this show is because Shinji, I will say, acts very much like a teenager being thrown in the situation. He doesn't want to do it. It's horrible. It's painful. It's disheartening. His father is quite frankly cruel and abusive. And a lot of people grew up with the common joke catchphrase saying, just get in the goddamn mech, Shinji, because of how many times he refuses the call to action, essentially. But to be fair, I feel like if you or I were in the situation, I wouldn't super be a big fan of doing it either, especially if I was, a young kid. But Evangelion shows its age in a lot of ways. And having it be centered around Shinji itself is both to its benefit and its extreme detriment. Because Shinji himself isn't the greatest. Like, he's not a character that's easy to root for, but it's understandable a lot of the ways he reacts to some of these situations. It's a rough going, man. It's rough. And the complexity of the show and why I've avoided it for so long is mainly due to him. Mainly due to him and the overall issue of how much of this do I show you. Because, Remington, the other complicated thing about Evangelion is its original airing back in 95 was a full 26-episode anime. Okay?
Yep.
And ever since we started this podcast, everybody's like, you gotta make him watch the whole thing.
Holy shit.
And I knew from day fucking one that was like, not gonna happen.
That's how you kill a man.
That's how you kill a man. Like, even if it's one of the best shows you've ever liked, making you watch anything, Remington, if it was your favorite thing in the whole world, if it was like 12 Bo Burnham specials, if I make you watch 26 anime episodes worth of Bo Burnham, even you would start to dislike him a little bit.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's especially like something I also want to emphasize, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I think sometimes people forget. You look, all of you weebs, you can watch something that like maybe you're not a huge fan of, kind of like in the background, second monitor, ignoring it. I have to dedicate time to it, take goddamn notes. Like, I deliberately watch things even if I don't enjoy them. I have to be present, and that makes rough things even rougher.
Yeah, which it's rough. It's really hard. Like, there's a difference between watching something because you want to watch it and see where it goes and binging it that way, and actively consuming it and reviewing it. Trust me, I know. I've had to do some really bullshit April Fool's episodes in the past.
Truth.
So that's the thing you gotta keep in mind. And it's not like, and it would be one thing if they just wanted you to finish the show, Remington. There's also movies that they wanted you to watch.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Because the original series had a bit of the most controversial thing amongst the biggest fans of the series is how the original series ends, which I can't tell you how it ends, but let's just say that a lot of people weren't a big fan of it. But they still regard the show itself as wildly beloved. And since that ending, there have been essentially sequel/remake movies that have come out periodically throughout the years. And they wanted me to show you all those as well as the original series, which, gang, no fucking way. I wouldn't do that to somebody who is excited to watch the series. And I'm someone who's made people watch extended editions of Lord of the Rings films.
I'm one of those people as well.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
You have inflicted that on me.
I have, and I'd do it again, motherfucker.
God damn.
But that's the biggest reason we have never covered it up to this point. But since they're like, we're gonna make it happen this year, it's like, I've got no choice. I gotta take it into my own hands. I gotta get in the goddamn mecha myself and take the reins myself. And that's why we're doing it now, Remington. Synopsis, pretty straightforward. Like I said, it's about our main character, 14-year-old Shinji Ikari, being conscripted, quite frankly, by his father into this program to fight these angels that have been terrorizing the planet for 15 years, essentially.
Okay.
And the story of him in this situation, fighting these angels, learning what they are, and dealing with the, quite frankly, toxic political environment that is his life now. And along the way, he meets various characters, some of his fellow pilots. Asuka is one of them, as is Rei Ayanami. That's the big debate of the show is between Asuka and Rei. Most of the people will say Asuka, some people will say Rei, and then a lot of people will throw the third person, Misato, in, which you've never heard of two of those characters, I'm pretty sure. You only know Asuka.
I vaguely know Rei. Very vaguely.
Bet you if I showed you a picture of Rei, you'd recognize her.
Yeah.
Like,
the other one I've never heard of in my goddamn life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like an older woman character who likes to drink. You know. As you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, which one, what side are you on?
From an early age, I was always on Team Asuka. I usually support
Dog.
blue-haired girls, but I always loved Asuka. As an adult grown man, I can see the appeal in Misato. But you know, that's neither here nor there. But one other thing I will say, Rep, there is a penguin in the show.
Yay! Okay, what?
Yeah, he's called Pen Pen.
I love Pen Pen.
Here's a picture of Pen Pen.
Not as cute as I wanted.
Well, it's a show from the 90s, my guy, and he's not. And he's one of those weird penguins with like the rocker hair. So
yeah, I don't like it.
Well, look, man, you gotta look for your saving graces when you get them. But this show is wildly beloved. It's got a lot of complex themes to it, and it's primarily a look into the psyche of the fella behind the show, the director of the show, Hideaki Anno, because guy was having a rough time, and a lot of what happens in this anime is fueled by him expressing his mental health and his depression at the time. So there was a lot of trauma that this fellow went through in creating the show, and he just wanted to get it out there.
Why are you preempting me being an asshole when if I don't like it?
Because, Remington, if I don't do this, that's when people get angry. and your opinions are going to be your opinions no matter what. But this is one of those shows where the more I leave out, the more people are going to send us emails, be like, well, why didn't you mention that it was Studio Gainax that did it? See, there you go. I mentioned it was Studio Gainax that did it. We don't talk about them nowadays because they don't do anything anymore because they don't really exist. Well, they still exist, but they don't exactly make anything good because all of their talent left and went to other things.
I see.
Yeah, and this is the show that really put them on the map. It's a lot. It's a lot. There's so much to talk about, so much to cover, and I have to leave this point to you, Remington, because the folks at our Discord who are planning to stage a coup and have us do this for Christmas, they wanted you to do 8 episodes so that you could get to see Asuka, which is fair, and I figured that was a good amount of episodes to watch as well. But I recently made you watch a fuck ton of an anime.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, I can't make you do that. So, Remington, it's going to be entirely up to you. Do you want to watch 8 episodes just to be introduced to Asuka? Or do you want to watch 5 episodes and deal with us having to revisit this in the probably near future?
Oh, fuck.
Because, and I will say, once you get to episode 8, you are essentially just being introduced to her character, and as you know, she is a tsundere. And people love her for how she is throughout the rest of the story. So, that's kind of the crux of it. It's up to you. But either way, I am fulfilling my mission of showing you Evangelion before they can stage a coup on me and ruin Christmas.
Fuck. The people would be okay. All right, Weebs, let's make a deal. All right, all of you and me. I'm going to choose 8 for all of you. That means that when I show up in part 2 of the podcast with some critiques, and I'm like, oh, some of this wasn't great, none of you motherfuckers are allowed to say, oh, if you only watched more, oh, what an asshole. None of you can say any of that, okay? That's the deal. That's the bargain.
You know they're gonna say it anyway, though, right, Rem?
But I will be allowed to ignore it, all right?
You can
if
ignore
you say
it
at that point, fuck you.
Like, hey, Rem, those words will not fucking leave my lips in part 2. I promise you. Because as somebody who's seen all of it, including the movies, and I still quite enjoy the series, I also know that this series is straight up not for everybody.
Yep.
Because, hey, gang, when you have a series that's so deeply rooted in dark themes and creators had their own mental health issues while they were creating it, it's going to have some things in it that are either going to be not great for your mental health or are going to resonate with your mental health in a way that helps you be introspective and think about it. But, opinions of the show have varied throughout the years, but it has consistently stayed one of the most popular anime of all time, and will probably remain to be so in the future because of how much of a cultural impact it's had on, like, media as a whole, as well as just the cultural zeitgeist. Because Evangelion was groundbreaking for its time.
Yep.
And so many shows have been inspired by it. Like, you will maybe see some anime shots or animation poses that look familiar to you that will have been inspired partially by this show.
That's
very
wild.
similar to like the Akira bike slide that we all know about.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like the biggest one that comes to mind is they call it the Gainax pose, where it's a dramatic pose with arms crossed, usually standing intimidatingly on top of something very large, looking down on the opponent. Like there's lots of.
So what you're saying is this is old fuck media.
Oh well, I'm 1995, Remington.
Sounds like old fuck media.
Just because you weren't alive then does not mean you can call it old fuck media. Oh, Christ almighty. Well, Ren, this has been a huge first part, but it has to be, Remington. We are going deep into it. And I will say, before we do go deep into it, I'm going to put my opinion out at the front. I have a strong emotional connection to this show. I still love this show, but it is still from 1995 and has some very dated anime tropes and themes that don't stack up today. So, gang, it's okay to like the show, but also understand that it has a good amount of problems as well. Preempting that because Remington's going to have more problems with it, most likely, and I just want you all to be prepared. But with that in mind, Remington, let's go straight into it. Let's go watch some Neon Genesis Evangelion. And we are back after watching 8 whole episodes of the hit 1995 classic anime that, quite frankly, inspired several generations and continues to do so to this day. And God help me, I am terrified about what you're going to say, Remington. I know some of what you're going to say, but generally speaking, I'm terrified because while your criticisms are going to be fair and valid as they usually are, I'm just worried you're going to say something out of pocket that's going to get us canceled again.
Like what? Give me an example.
You're just trying to drag me down with you.
No, I don't have context, so I'm simply asking for context, good sir.
Ah, man. Like, I feel like one of the things you might say that would be out of pocket is that all the characters in this show suck or something like that, you know?
Ah, I see.
You're being awfully quiet, Remington. And that's not normal for you. You're not a quiet man. You are one of the loudest people I know.
Just organizing all my thoughts, Shaun, and the best way to execute them.
In such a way that's not going to ultimately devastate our project that we've been working 5 years towards.
Or alternatively, how to maximally devastate it.
This would be a wild way to commit internet suicide, my guy.
Well, shall we start talking about Evangelion?
Sure.
All right. So it all starts going into the distant future of 2015.
Yep.
Shit's fucked. Everything's flooded. There's an emergency going on. The streets are empty except for our protagonist, Shinji. He's just kind of around.
Yeah.
He's just kind of in the middle of an abandoned street being like, I guess they're not coming. Which is a hell of a situation to be in.
Yeah.
And then what we will learn is an angel attacks the city. And this angel, it's basically like the OG Titan from Attack on Titan. It's just big, demonic, and weird. And it starts attacking the city versus a lot of military bullshit. Finally, Shinji's, we don't know who it is, but a woman picks up Shinji. And then we learn that she is, what the fuck is her name?
Misato.
I had it somewhere. Misato. Misato, she picks him up and is like, all right, let's go. The angel is taking a beating from all of the military shit and does not care. So they basically nuke it, but it's fine. And Shinji and Misato are caught in the shockwave, but they're also pretty fine. It's no big thing. In fact, they stare at the blinding blast as it just overcomes them. She brings Shinji to his father's agency, Nerve, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this big underground base. They show him around, and there's a big old mech. And they're like, hey, that's what you're gonna be piloting, bud. And Shinji's like, oh, but what if I don't, though? And they're like, motherfucker, you are here for one reason. You are a goddamn Nepo hire born to pilot this mech. So get the fuck in. And he's like, I don't know. And they're like, we do. Get the fuck in. So he gets the fuck in.
Yeah.
And the base is being attacked, but they rise up the mech. It sends Shinji in, and then we had a nice little standoff. Mech versus Angel. All right. And we see that in episode 2. We open up with that fight, and they're like, all right, so first concentrate on walking. So this is really his first time doing any of this shit.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, concentrate on walking, ready to fight this hell beast. It's going to a toddler and being like, hey, great first steps, bud. Now you're gonna fight God. Like, maybe there should be a few intermediary steps.
Yeah, well,
is all I'm saying.
Look, child safety is not the primary concern here. Genzo is just not exactly father of the year. He's not.
14-year-olds are a dime a dozen, and then it needs to be 14-year-olds. I don't know why. Did they explain it? I can't remember an explanation. They emphasized it needed to be 14-year-olds.
There is an explanation, but as is the case with a lot of things in this show, I can't explain it yet.
All right, I'd be amazed if it's a good one. It feels pretty stupid, and maybe there's a genius explanation. I'm skeptical. And so they fight. He sort of just trips over himself, stumbles into the angel that like rips into his arm, and rips into the mech's arm, blasts its fucking head, and then Shinji wakes up in the hospital. So needless to say, there a lot went on, and you're like, oh, the angel just fucked him up. So he wakes up in a hospital, and people are like, oh, hey, about time. Everybody seems to be in pretty good spirits, all things considered, after such devastation. We see some backrooms dealings with Nerve, Shinji's father, who is like the CEO of Nerve, talking to world leaders and bullshit like that. There's like a nice Illuminati vibe with that. And we see that Shinji is going to be rooming with Misato. And they go to their place, they arrive home, she gets drunk, we meet the penguin who's just vibing.
Yeah.
My question is, where is Pen's mech?
Pen is not 14 years old.
When Pen turns 14,
right?
Can he get a mech?
Based on the logic of this setting and universe, I don't see a reason why not.
Heck yes. I want Pen mech.
You want Pen to take a mech.
Yes.
Well, good news is penguins can live up to 15 years, so we've got a chance.
That's how he's gonna go out. He's gonna go out in style, god damn it.
He's gonna get his own Eva.
Oh, it'd be so good. And as Shinji goes to bed, he has a flashback to the battle where we see there was a bit more to it that we were not privy to until now. After getting fucked up, the mech kind of just did mind of its own and went berserk and kicked the angel's ass. Barely before shutting down. And Shinji, he has some good old trauma about it.
Oh yeah, Shinji has some good old trauma about it is the synopsis of the series, Remington. Because this kid's going to go through a lot.
My summary of Shinji is like, I understand his character.
Yes.
Right? I'm like, okay, he's justified in his actions. I get it. Why is he the main character? Because it's like, hey, no fault in the character building, but some fault in like the character focus.
Yeah.
Because he's bland and annoying most of the time.
And that is kind of the universal complaint about this show.
Which, once again, it's not because, like, oh, he's such an inconsistent character. It's like, no, once again, I get it. I understand. It makes sense for a character like him to react in these ways in these circumstances, right? I'm not complaining about that. I'm complaining about the story being about him.
Well, hey, it balloons out the more we get into it with more characters and things of that nature. But yeah, the main focus on Shinji is definitely is a big issue for a lot of people. Most people don't even give the consideration you gave him, Remington. Most people are like, I don't like him. I'm not going to watch the rest of the show. Like they don't even give him more than that, Yeah.
Shinji has a couple of classmates, Nerd and like Bully. Maybe one day they'll be relevant. They aren't thus far, so you probably won't hear about them again.
Yeah.
Because I don't think in these 8 episodes, like, they're around.
Yeah.
But they don't do anything.
They're not as important as the folks at Nerve specific.
There's a fun moment where, like, the bully, he beat up Shinji and made Shinji even more self-conscious, right? And traumatized. And then later on, when another angel is on the attack and shit's getting fucked, the nerd and the bully are like, oh man, Shinji has to save us. And the nerd just like drops a casual comment being like, oh man, I hope he's up for it after you beat the shit out of him. and you can tell like the bully is like, oh no. Like, he realizes he may have just destroyed civilization as he knows it because he wanted to punch a kid.
Yeah.
Which I'm gonna level with you. That's a pretty fragile society you got there.
I mean, to be fair, the society that's presented to us is completely fragile. Like, it is. We are like, decades into this crisis that they are dealing with, and yeah, no, it's pretty fucking fragile. Pretty fucking fragile.
If you are like all it takes for society to crumble is for one emotionally immature and unstable 14-year-old to have a single bad day. Like
Things aren't great, dog. Things aren't fucking great, and that is the whole point. Do you think they want it to be 14-year-olds piloting these giant mechs to fight these angelic demons from hell? Course not. Of course they don't want that, Remington. But unfortunately, that's the situation they're stuck in.
Oh, man. But, I don't know. It's still... I keep just thinking back to, like, it having to be 14-year-olds, and it just feels so bad.
Well, get over it, Remington. There is a reason. I cannot tell you, and if I did, I would be in trouble.
That's okay. Don't tell me the reason, but I want you, and be fucking honest with me, all right? Is it a good reason?
I would say yes. It's a good it's a good reason, and it makes complete sense in the world that they have presented to us. And it's as good a reason as you're gonna get, Remington.
Well, I mean, good a reason I was hoping to get is different than a good reason.
Look, Remington, trust me, I've seen a lot of anime where they just kind of hand wave the whole young people being in charge of like super suits, Power Ranger suits, mechs, whatever. This show does not hand wave it. There is a reason, and it is a established lore-based reason, as well as the fact that it makes sense. It involves a lot of complex factors that come together in the show, and I wish I could tell you more, but I can't. I
Fair
can't.
enough. Okay. All right. Okay. And at the end of episode 2, what we also see after this like flashback to how the battle with the angel actually went, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is we see that when coming back and returning and everything, like the Eva mech looked at him with a nice like biological eyeball.
Yeah.
Establishing that I basically let's just run down. I'm already ready to give my bold predictions, as I'm one to do.
All right, hey, I'm here for it.
All right, so there's a handful of components here. All right, so you got the angels, and you have the Evangelion mechs. I think that very much they're two sides of the same coin. All right, they in episode I don't know 7, 8, one of the last episodes I watched.
Yep.
They mentioned they like got a sample from some angel thing and they called it Adam, right?
Yes.
So here's my thinking, all right? Because this show, it loves its biblical imagery, and that's your boy's wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm either going to be more accurate than usual because of that, or way the fuck off. I think that you got two aliens, all right, of nebulous origin. Adam, Eve. That's what we'll call them.
Okay. I don't know where you pulled those from, but you know what? Let's go with it.
and Eve has created the Evangelions. And
interesting.
Adam has created the angels. And who knows why they're fighting or trying to conquer. I suppose my bold prediction is that it has very little to do with humanity, very much just kind of getting caught in the crossfire type deal. It's like, hey, if two eldritch horrors are gonna fight, they don't really care about the casualties. You're just kind of meaningless to them. That with like a little bit more nuance, and maybe the Evangelions slightly care, maybe, or at least they care about the hosts or the ones that they link up with, or some bullshit like that. But that's my thinking of the overall big picture shit.
Okay.
All right.
As usual, I won't give you any response because I know you wouldn't want it. But noted, folks listening. Just goes to show, Remington has some interesting thoughts and opinions.
Damn right. I think I nailed it. I think I got the biggest brain, and it turns out Eve pen the whole time.
The biggest twist of them all. The main villain of the whole series.
No. This would be like the secondary, like main hero.
Oh, excuse me.
The hero in disguise.
The Cube, the catalyst for humanity's survival is Pen the Penguin, essentially.
It's basically like if Frodo like brought his dog on the journey, and then halfway through bringing his dog, the dog then transformed into Gandalf and was like, I'm Gandalf the whole time. And you're like, really? Fido was Gandalf? And it's that. That's not an official prediction, but man, if that's anywhere close to being accurate, people will think that I've read ahead, because that is a bonkers guess. I don't think that's the case, but if it is, that's fucking insane.
I'll have you know, his name is Samwise. And he's the best friend a man could ask for.
So, episode 3. Shinji is finally practicing with his goddamn mech, and he's an obedient empty vessel. He's not having a great time.
Nope.
This is where we get the drama with the classmates and blah blah blah. I basically already covered that. There's another angel. It fights Shinji. Has another like barely victory. Which I can appreciate that these battles, while admittedly, I'm gonna level with you, the battle's kind of bland as fuck.
It was 1995, my guy.
You can't. I've seen some old shit with better choreography.
They improve as the show goes on. Like,
all
when
right,
it gets more competent. But you
thus far, extremely bland action. Where it's like it has great set pieces, right? Where these terrible, crazy monsters, because every angel is different. And it's like, all right, and here's what this one's doing. And then it's like, how are we gonna take it down? And it's like, I don't know, one hit KO something, some way or another, who cares? And it's like, oh, okay. It's like, are we gonna have any cool back and forth? No, never. And it's like, okay, sure. It's basically every single angel has an unspoken giant red kill me boss button, and every fight is, oh man, can Shinji do it? Oh, it fucked him up. Oh, but he pressed the kill button, so he wins. There's been quite a few angels, and none of them, and they've had cool designs, but like, I'm not gonna remember any of them, because how it went about using them was horribly uninteresting. And there's also like not a ton of stakes, because it's like, oh, don't worry, people are super safe. Everybody is super safe. All of this infrastructural damage, it only matters in like a very abstract sense. And so, thus far, not great on that front, which is disappointing, because, it's a goddamn shonen mech anime.
It's, well, yeah, it is, though a lot of people would probably argue the shonen quality of it.
Look, given how much they focus on 14-year-old girls' panties, I think it's safe to say this is a shonen.
Okay.
I think that's a pretty safe designation. I'm either going to call it shonen or ecchi, so that's up to you.
It's definitely not the latter.
All right, then we have a decision made.
Oh, dear.
Oh, did you think I wasn't going to bring up how horny this is for the 14-year-old girls? Because boy, oh boy, is it horny for them. It introduces them, and you can just the camera shots on this. Holy shit.
Yeah, like I said, there are some things in here that even modern fans aren't a huge fan of.
And some people, I can hear it now. Some people are going to counter. They're going to be like, oh, but occasionally, like, Shinji is naked, right?
That's not the problem. Yeah. That's not the problem.
But first of all, not great either. But second of all, it never sexualizes Shinji. When he's naked, it's like, oh, how embarrassing. When any of the girls are naked or undressing, then that's when the show creators, they look you dead in the fucking eye and they're like, yeah, how about this, huh? And I'm like, please stop. Please just move the fuck on. And it happens far too often.
Yeah, no, that is one of the relics of anime that most modern fans not a fan of. And we choose to ignore it for the most part because the other stuff is worthwhile. That stuff, not so much. The other stuff, yes.
Oh, man. And I understand why the only people I was at all familiar with were Asuka and to a lesser extent Rei. Because I've seen one episode with Asuka and a little bit more of Rei. And yeah, they're way more interesting than any other character thus far.
That is correct, yes. Why do you think it's been a debate for literal decades, Rem?
Yeah, that being said, with Rei, alright, so, like, it's gonna be a nice little, like, weird love triangle thing, right? But, like, oh, who should Shinji get with? With Rei, there's this weird element of Rei liking him because she reminds him of his dad. There was a moment where it's like she saw his dad's face overlaid with his.
Yeah.
And that, I don't like that.
Oh, yeah, no. It's properly fucked up, Remington, and it's fucked up on purpose. Don't worry.
I feel wildly uncomfortable.
Good, you should. You should. That's the intent.
You say that's the intent, but then they're also like, hey, let's make a bunch of jokes of Misato being with Shinji. Ha 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 ha. Get it, this adult woman with a 14-year-old boy. Ha ha ha. How funny, how silly. What the fuck?
Yeah, again.
And that one is not intended to be creepy. That one's intended to be hilarious. That one, it just plays for laughs 100% of the time.
Yeah, no. That, again, like I said, some tropes and things are way too dated for their time. Yeah.
Yeah. So continuing on, after another angel battle in episode, we go to episode 4. Shinji, he runs away, leaves a note. He's just sad for a while, and then he comes back. Well, he meets one of his classmates, and then he comes back, and is sort of forced back. And they're like, "Are you gonna be a pilot or not?" He's like, "Nah, fam." And so then he's on his way out. But then at the last second, instead of getting on the train, he doesn't. And he's like, coming back, actually. And that's this whole episode. This whole episode is Shinji in a nutshell. Valuable character building. I don't like the character it's building. I get it. I understand it. I don't like it.
Hey, that's okay as long as you understand it, Remington. That's the important thing. Because most people who are hypercritical of the show refuse to, at the very least, understand it. And you're making much bigger steps than a lot of other people, which I appreciate.
So the next 2 episodes are focused on Rei. We see that when Rei tried the prototype of the mech, it did not go great. It freaked out, and they had to eject Rei. And Shinji's dad helped to pull her out. It's like kind of save her, but not really save her. More to like put himself in danger to check on her. And that's what has made Rei like so into Shinji's dad.
Yep.
And Shinji has to deliver something to Rei, so he goes in there, and then there's just the whole scene, it just exists for an extended series of pervy moments with Rei. You could have some interesting character building. Nope. The show says, hey, fuck you. And spends way too much time, because it's not just one moment here.
No.
It is literally just a series of moments, and it's like, oh, okay, that's how we're gonna have them meet, just with all of that. Okay, all right, you could have done something there. There's an opportunity cost, unfortunately. Then at the end of this episode, we see that yet another angel, this one that's just this giant like tesseract is coming, and it starts drilling down, and it can't get hit at all, and it immediately kills everything. And it's drilling down to the base. So as we go into the next episode, Shinji and Rei, they have to go and handle it. There's this big old plan of taking all of the power of Japan to power this cannon, and so they do that. They work it out. There's a kind of like an obstacle, but not really. Mostly they go and shoot it. And so they kill that. Then episode 7, with episode 7, we get a little bit of exposition about the angels and about the second impact incident. We get some stuff with Misato and the UN and other ways that the world is defending itself and testing non-Evangelion tech that goes wrong, and they have to fix it, and then they do fix it. The episode has kind of a sappy, undeserved ending, but whatever. It's kind of filler. This episode, it's
a little bit, yeah.
It builds up kind of. I think, but like
like, the most important stuff is, like, the background and such.
Yeah. Watch the first 3 minutes, and then if you don't feel like, if you're on a bit of a time crunch, okay candidate to skip the other 18.
Yeah, that I will agree with you 100% on that one. Like, there's not enough to make it justified. You can infer a lot of the character stuff anyways.
Yeah, it's like, there's some nice little background details, but episode 8, this is where we meet Asuka. They get on an airship. For some reason, the nerd and the bully are brought along. Don't really know why.
I mean, well, like, the whole, like, little facility town they're in is essentially run by Nerve, so they're technically part of the company in that regard, but, like, cast padding mostly is what it felt like to me.
So obviously, when Shinji met Rei, it wasn't a great opening scene. But now we get to meet Asuka, and hopefully she gets a better one. Spoiler, she doesn't. It's immediately a very pervy scene. But why? Look, first impressions matter. I think we can all agree, right? And when a character gets introduced, that's the moment to really signify what they're all about, right? And so when a show takes that moment to show you what they're about, and what they decide is, hubba hubba, fellas, like, that's what you want to emphasize? That's what you want to introduce? That's what you want me to take away from this conversation?
Yeah, again, major problems with the era.
It's not just that it's tasteless and that it's creepy because it's 14-year-olds, and that it's sexist and objectifying. It's also just bad storytelling.
Yeah.
Like, but to be fair, Asuka immediately shows that she's the best character because she looks at Shinji and he's like, he looks kind of dull. And I'm like, goddamn, has she been watching the show? She right. She knows what she's talking about. And an angel ends up attacking the aircraft carrier they're on. So Shinji and Asuka both hop into Asuka's mech, and they fight the angel and win, doing more damage than the angel did, if I'm being honest.
Oh yeah, 100%. But hey, it's not like the military are helpful or anything.
Yeah, I guess. And then we also meet like Misato's ex, who's just creep. And he's the one who brings a part of Adam to Shinji's dad or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And at the very end, we learn Asuka is now in class as well with Shinji and Rei.
Yeah.
Also, I noticed this especially in this battle. I noticed it a little bit elsewhere, but sometimes Evangelion is real bad at, like, consistency of size. Especially when having multiple, like, big things with each other. Because it'll be like, oh, look, these things are comparable, and then it'll immediately go to, this thing is 10 times the size of the other. And, normally, bits and pieces here and there, that's okay. In this fight, I noticed it pretty egregiously.
Yep.
There were some moments where there were wild size distortions.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, I'm willing to, if there's just a little bit here and there, look, I get it. Animation's complicated. This one was like, did no one check on this? It was just especially egregious. But those are the 8 episodes of Evangelion.
And I'm just gonna start by saying, gang, he would have hated it on principle if I made him watch all 24. Oh, excuse me, 26. My bad, 26.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
so, and this was what y'all wanted him to get to, so he'd at least meet Asuka. That was the consensus that a lot of you guys came to. So genuinely, you guys cannot say he just needs to watch more, when in fact I know the fact that the reason this show is as iconic as it is because of everything that happens after a certain point. But I couldn't just show him so many episodes all at once. It's why I didn't want to do this one for the longest time, gang. I understand. The important thing is, just please temper your emails. That's all I want. That's all I ask.
Hey, and I don't think it's a bad show. I think it's certainly a dated one.
Very dated. 100% dated.
I think that it's on the low end of good, but it's still probably getting above a 5 for me. So that's a success. I think it has a lot of flaws. Personally, I think that there are better ways to spend your time, but I do not think this is a bad one.
And
also, intro, certified bop, especially like the first 10 seconds. First 10 seconds, love me some big brass. I will always accept that in an intro song. Fly Me to the Moon outro, or rather outros, delightful.
Mm-hmm.
Great choices all around.
Yep.
Good shit.
Yep. And so you're aware, the Netflix version skipped out on a lot of the Fly Me to the Moon outros from time to time, which pissed off a lot of people.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, because it's so iconic to the series, Fly Me to the Moon.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was a lot of controversy when this anime finally got brought back to Netflix, Remington, because for like a solid decade, you couldn't get it legally in the US,
Ooh.
which, was wild because of a lot of licensing stuff. And when they finally did bring it back to Netflix with like an updated dub and things of that nature, the lack of Fly Me to the Moon was a big, big, big turnoff for a lot of people. And some of like the dialogue changes as well, but that's besides the point. The point is, gang, he didn't outright hate it, thinking it's the worst thing ever, so you don't have to kill me. That's what I care about. But at the very least, Remington, from what you saw, though arguably I think it could be said that even though you watched 8 full episodes, you saw a fairly limited amount of what the show is building up to and going for. Can you at least see the potential the show has to have inspired, generations of people?
Oh, certainly, especially because I think that the world building is pretty solid in what it seems to be going for and what it's establishing. That combined with when it was created and put out, it's easily one of those things where, like, week to week, as people would imagine and think about what's to come, what could happen, what could be, theorizing, coming up with fan theories, and then just straight up fan fiction and the like, right?
Oh god, the fan fiction. There's so much fan fiction.
Oh, certainly.
Both wholesome and otherwise.
Oh, yes. And so with those, with all of those levels, it totally makes sense that it caught on to the degree that it did. Now, I would probably argue that there are better options now. I think it's commendable that Evangelion holds up as well as it does, but it's not one of those that you watch and you're like, man, hasn't lost a beat. No, you're gonna watch it and you're gonna be like, maybe just a couple beats have been lost here.
Yeah, no, there's too much flavoring of old school bad anime tropes that stain the otherwise fascinating canvas that is Evangelion. And we all know, we watch it in modern day. If you have any sense, you understand, you get it. But fans of the series are very much able to look past those flaws and see the good that lies within. Which sometimes you have to do. You shouldn't have to do it. But for a show that is, oh god, nearly 30 years old now. Oh my Christ. You gotta understand, like, time period is important for that consideration.
Weirdly, I think this, as crazy as this may sound, this makes me understand Attack on Titan more, because I feel like Attack on Titan helped people relive to a certain degree the nostalgia of Evangelion.
What, like mechs that are weird, that have weird flesh connections to them?
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure in Attack on Titan, we've, like, at some point I called it, like, flesh mech or some bullshit.
Oh yeah, you and everybody else. Yep.
and so, and in a lot of ways, for better or worse, Attack on Titan, from what I've seen, wants to be a spiritual successor of Evangelion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that a lot of people who wanted nothing more in the world but that, were extremely satisfied to receive that.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, Remington.
In whatever form it came in.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, Remington, you kind of hit the nail on the head with a lot of that. And lots of anime since Evangelion have been inspired by Evangelion, like, in more ways than one. So that's, You kind of nailed it in that regard, my guy. The amount of times I've heard people be like, "Oh, it's a bit like Evangelion," trying to describe it back in the day when it first came out. I understand. I completely understand that. Problem is even though Evangelion's got a lot of dated aspects to it, Attack on Titan can't really compare, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, it's basically it's like the closest off-brand that's a lot.
We've got Eva at home.
cheaper.
We've got Eva at home. It's fine.
Yeah, and it's like people are like, "Oh my god, finally!" And so they hop on.
Yeah. But good news for Eva fans is there have been like movies and slightly different adaptations of the series since then that have vastly improved the series and moved it away from some of the grosser, like, dated stuff, which is nice. And you know, Eva fans haven't been like starved for since its first inception, right? It's just that, you know, whenever you get something new to add on to that gives you a similar vibe, it makes you happy and excited. Whether or not it does it successfully, though, that's another story entirely. But all in all, Evangelion is iconic for a reason. Because up until that point, there had never been a show quite like it. And that is worth remembering. And gang, if you go and watch the show and you're not having as great a time as a lot of these older anime fans say it is, that's completely understandable because, yeah, it's from a different time period and there are a lot of things that just do not stand up today. And yeah, Shinji is a bland, boring bitch of a character, but he is a character that makes sense in the setting and everything he does and goes through makes sense, which is more than you could say for most anime protagonists, I feel like.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can understand not liking Shinji. But hey, let me tell you, the creativity behind this story as a whole is, in my opinion, makes it worth going through and finishing it, at the very least. And once you finish like the initial series, with the knowledge that everything that was made after it adds onto it and makes it better, then you can theoretically decide from that point onward whether or not it's worth the rest of your time. Because unlike Remington, most folks are willing to watch watch a 26 episode series without too much complaint. But Remington, I suppose the question I need to ask you next is, do you have any guesses on what the mouse score for this one is? It might be trickier than you think.
I mean, it's gotta be high. The question is, how high?
Mm-hmm.
And
we're just talking about the original series here, like not anything that came after it.
All right, I'm definitely gonna say 8 point something.
Okay.
Let's see, because with it being old, it has nostalgia, but it also has people hating on anything popular, hating on anything old. Let's stick to 8.32.
Is that your final answer?
Sure, why not?
Okay. Well, Remington, with with 1.06 million ratings, gang, like I said, 1985, one of the most popular series of all time. Been around a long, long time. Currently, Neon Genesis Evangelion, or Shinseiki Evangelion, is sitting nice and pretty at 8.35.
Oh, right, so close, close.
You were so fucking close, dude. You fucking nailed it, which is amazing considering how many people have reviewed this one. And yeah, and a trend that I don't normally see in Mal score ratings. The chart is straight up a hill. The majority of the votes are 10 out of 10, which
it
is that kind of show for a lot of people. And then it just literally goes down level to level to level to level. The only like slight variances is at the 1 out of 10 and 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
But aside from that, it's a pretty like consistent hill, which is fascinating because usually you get a spike at like the 7, 8s, and 9s. Very rarely do you see it go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 in a fairly satisfying way like that. It just goes to show how much of an effect
I'm probably
this show
going
has.
like a 5.5 to 6 overall,
which is really good for you.
Yeah, and I think like the vibes are like 7.5 to 8.
Yeah.
I think that looking at the like mechanics of everything, the structural and more substantial elements, it falters a little bit more, but the vibes are definitely there.
Yeah. And for me, I'm nestled nicely in that 7.5 to 8 range for myself. Because, hey, this is one of those shows that helped get me into more complex and interesting anime back in the day. Like, it is a gateway show for a lot of people, which is wild considering some of the things that happen later on. Hey, let's just say there's a lot of dark stuff in my childhood, And Evangelion has some of the darker stuff, which is fine. I was 13, don't need to worry about it.
You weren't 14 yet, so you were fine.
No, so I was fine. I didn't have to get into Neva yet. I was safe. I was good. Because God knows I did not want to be Shinji. Even at 13, I did not want to be Shinji. Nobody wants to be Shinji, let's be real.
Oh, ain't that the truth?
Hell, fucking Gendo didn't even want Shinji except for the fact that he can go into a mech. God, he is a shitty dad. Anyways, but with that in mind, Remington, I guess the final question I need to ask you, is there any chance you'd ever want to come back and watch more Evangelion?
I'm gonna level with ya. I feel like I would probably receive more dopamine watching like a video essay about the show or about the lore on my second monitor while doing something than I would actually watching the show.
Okay, that might be the most hurtful thing you've said all day. That actually kind of stung me a little bit.
There's lots of good video essays out there.
Oh, there are, and Evangelion has loads of them. But ow, that does sting a little.
I'll put it this way: I'm not against watching more. Asterisk, a little bit against the amount that I know I would have to watch the next time out. But ignoring that element, I'm not against watching more in a vacuum. I'm just not particularly compelled either.
Okay, that is a fair assessment. And with that, sorry, hey gang, didn't want this to be on Christmas. so
but
there we
speaking
go.
of Christmas, and right as we transition, Shaun, do you know what's going on right now?
What's that, Remington?
The 12 Days of April Fools, truly Shaun's favorite time of the year. For those who don't know what that is, or maybe you didn't listen to last week's episode, 12 Days of April Fools, that is 12 days in a row of April Fool's episodes that are just being uploaded to our Patreon. Right now, we're in the thick of it. If you just go over to Patreon for $5, you get 11 bonus episodes from this year, 11 bonus episodes from last year, many bonus episodes we had throughout the years, including, yes, even more April Fools. You get so much. There's so much for just $5. $5. It's a steal, y'all. And let me guarantee you, some of the shit that I have done to Shaun this year, it is delightfully atrocious.
Look, having to watch 24 hours of A Christmas Story was just a prelude, gang. Some of the things he's made me go through this year. Oh boy, like, if you think Shinji has it rough, my god. I feel like I'm having a rough go of it myself.
Like, there's so many great things. And so I just want to strongly encourage it. Once again, it's a labor of love that we do. Over 10 hours of bonus content just for $5. Just boom, there you go. Just this year, just not even counting all the pre-banters or last year's 12 days or any of that. Like, that's a goddamn bargain.
And it's quite the bargain that it's such a bargain that Remington is shilling for the Patreon. He never does that.
I just want people to properly experience alongside you, the fruits of my labor.
The fruits of your labor. I see. Yes.
I mean, of course, I beautifully crafted this all.
You did craft it all.
All you had to do was watch some things. That's easy, Shaun.
Oh, it's easy, is it? Then why do you complain every week, you son of a bitch? You've been complaining every week for 5 years! You absolute bastard!
Oh, shit.
The point is, yes, go watch. Don't let my suffering be in vain. And there is some nice things I have to say about some of the things we watch as well. So, it's not all bad.
Just mostly.
Just mostly. But the important thing is, go patreon.com/amavcontext. And as for the folks who are like, hey, what are you going to do for Christmas then, since, you stole our or coup from us. Don't worry, gang. Much like the end of Evangelion, flying to the moon is something I am quite familiar with as well. And
I
with
don't know
that,
what the fuck that means.
don't worry, you will. And with that, thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you enjoy Remington very carefully going through one of the most beloved series of all time and doing his best not to get us killed, then please head on over to wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review. They mean the world to us, and we do read every single one. But if that is not enough for you, you can head on over to twitch.tv/animeoutofcontext, where myself, Dylan, and Remington do occasionally play video games very poorly. And coming in January, I'm probably going to be devoting at least 1 to 2 days a week to just me streaming, guaranteed. And if I don't, I'm probably going to have to do punishments instead, because I need to get better at scheduling that kind of shit.
Ooh la la.
I know, I'm aware. Will they be great streams? Hey, one way to find out. And like we said, if that's still not enough for you, you can head on over to patreon.com/animeoutofcontext, where you gain all those bonus episodes and the opportunity to be thanked live on the podcast. So, Rem, who are we thanking this week?
Well, as always, we would like to send our regards to all of our bland bitch protagonists, as well as our magical girls, who we really appreciate. But moving on, we get to our yandere waifus, who are just giving us a flesh mech beatdown. Which is also what I give Shaun every Saturday. And on that list, we
I'm very lonely.
we have My Name is First Now, Bitch. Oops, sorry, I was just overly excited. You're not a bitch, please don't hurt me. Zombie Stomp, Xanax, Zayden, your weekly reminder to wash your pits, Shaun. Yandere Neko, Why Shaun, Why Shaun? When is the Force Fairy 5 revisit? Walk Me Home Gently. Vinland Saga's Peakland Saga, Rem Please Watch. Vegeta is better than Goku, Fight Me. Utah number 1, Unhinged Prax. Totally God's Angel, Titan CNH. Thopter Not King, Ruler of Ornai. The Villain Behind Glasses wants Remington's reaction to Chief Nianta. The Thank and Yank is my favorite Evangelion combat maneuver.
Oh dear.
I
realizing that all the names asking for the Evangelion episode in this particular episode are gonna be... Look, there's a twinge of irony to all of them, I feel.
Will you guys be happy or frustrated or both? I mean, don't know.
Because I gave them what they wanted, just not for Christmas.
The Susanator, the Danish Viking will conquer the world with Roronoa Zoro as my navigator. The Angel's Happy Sugar Life is in shambles after the Thank and Yank. That guy that makes Rome talk about those angel cunts at least once a week. Thanks for being the best thing to listen to while working out. Y'all's mostly agreeable takes distract me just enough. Thank and Yank boys edging their way through the finish line of No Nut November. Thank the angels that I actually timed a Patreon name correctly. Time to make someone say titty milk is my favorite lube. Whew. Turban, Super Zoo, Stacy's mom, Snaky Pie, Silent Secondary, Shoujo Addict who doesn't need help, just more manga to read and anime to watch, Shaun getting the Angel Christmas Special Robot, Shaun puts the Bara in Capybara, also I love angels, Seth Senju, Seraphim the Shark Plushie, Sugoi Dekai, that's what she said, say hi to my girlfriend Haley, say hi to my girlfriend Haley, wait a moment!
Do you have two?
These are separate people, I want to emphasize.
They're separate. How many people with girlfriends called Haley are there?
I want to, if your name is Haley and you are with somebody, hello.
Yeah.
Just universal, just to everybody.
Look.
Ross Palmer, Rhiannon Williams, RGB98, Rem uses the drums of liberation to free all weebs from bad anime. Rem loves the big hole. Rem doesn't completely hate my favorite shows. Professor Fox, pro tips out of context, please for the love of the birds, get in the Patreon revolt. Aviary Coup Evangelion, all will be right. Praise Haruhiism, have you heard of our Lord and Savior Haruhi? Paco El Musico, Onaragoro is the best episode thus far. Now we move on to the Boy Wizard tier where everybody is getting head.
Pardon?
No Waifu, No Laifu, 907. Nice Legs, Daisy Dukes, Makes Mango, Do. Neon Genesis Tattooed Evangelion. Neon Angel Huvo. Makeka 7 Hierto. Mermicorn Fire. Mechazap. Making fake mal account so I can rate Forest Fairy 5 10 out of 10. Macaroni U Cheeseha. Love AOT and like the pod after 6 months of focused listening. Live from Shaun's mom's basement. Link Jokerl. Like an angel with cruel and merciless intent, go forth, young Rem, and you'll become a legend if you watch NGE. Liam Dunn, King Rich Rock, Cassidy, Jergidius, Joe Rogan is my waifu, woo. Jax, Jam Hands, is that an angel I see, or is it a capybara that ate the bird fruit? Icon Scout, I appreciate the thanking yank, Shaun. You're a true angel.
Oh my Christ.
I can't not laugh at the thanking yank.
I'm just amazed there's so many. I didn't anticipate that being added to the lore.
Look, Shaun, I create memes like it's nothing.
You do, and I suffer for it. Because my brand is gonna be like 20% MILF Hunter and like 30% Thank and Yank for like the next year.
Oh, you're underestimating it. Hunter Tane. Hey, Shaun, I got a text just now. It says durability test level 1 begin. Goggle McGigglefuck. Glenn Michael Dolan. Farmer Weep wants Patreons to know it's Christmas time for Eva, so say Angel. Fantide. Eva Angel Lion sounds like a Sphinx that's in love with Wally, insists Misaka. Eva doesn't deserve to be jerked off as hard as it is. It's mid at best, something Angel. Well, they support the coup, but they're also letting their opinion be known.
Hey, look, they care about the birds and the charity and the idea of controlling the podcast. But they just want their opinion to be known, which honestly, that's fair.
Then we have Erica McCorkle, Elbow and Quenyo, Domo, Eva Birds, Dark with Light, Angelic Evas, Daniel Riot, Daddy Shaun, Daddy Rem. Why does Daddy Rem hate fun? Oh, Samantha Honey Angel. Fun hurt him very badly when he was a child. Daddy Rem, tell me a bedtime story. Cryptid MILF, Cryptkilla Steve, Countrified Goth here to remind you that you just lost the game. Chris Wood, Cheese, I've never watched Neon Genesis Evangelion, but let's go, monkey. Celestial Angel Fox, Cat Girls are best girls, so give them cute little paws. Carl Steff, can I have some Maruko Shinju review for this Christmas? I'm just a little boy in the cold. Brockhard for Jew dudes, I can't be bribed, says our angel. Oh, but you absolutely can, Shaun. And now we wonder, was Shaun bribed or not? Who knows? It's a nebulous territory now. Big Blue Bear Boy, Big Tony Bear Trap, Big Nut says Angel for the birds, Burt B. Eva Flem Angel, Angel Thank and Yank, Angel for Steel, Angel for a good cause, and every day that Angel Raven comes to visit. Amazing Muffin, AJ Tunnel says Tribute Summoned Angel of Big Holes. Aisha Gudgy, Aaron Hegland, a book about tumbleweed learning to be human until it gets an Eva in the last 5 pages. And Dot. Now we move on to the Boy Wizards, where everybody will get their own angel. What does Daddy Rum say to Goth Angel Dylan and Mommy Shaun? You get Vassaraya. Vincent Calabrese, you get Davithai. Valkyries come at Allfather's command to destroy those who speak bad about JoJo's. You get Munkar. That reminds me, an Angel of Eden says you are interested in men. You get Hofnil. That mouse girl, you are going to get Jofil. That guy Evan or that guy Gellion, you get Kushil. Rowdio, you are going to get Raguel. Rent a Girlfriend revisit now or make Rem watch some more Sword Art Online. You get The Big Hole. Rem should watch Pui Pui Molcar Season 2. You are going to get Urfael. Please consider Magical Girl Musical or Healer Girl. I want to know Rem's opinion. You are going to get Gadriel. Nightshade Blade, you get Raziel. Monogatari is everything you said you'd like in an anime. This week it's the Christmas rewatch. You get Metatron. Milena is Ryan's angel. You are going to get Shemhamfrey.
At what point do the names just stop sounding like real names and sound like you're making them up when in fact they are actually all real names?
Well, probably at this next one. Mike says, get in the fucking robot, Rem. You get Macroprosopus. Miguel DeLeon, you get Eufin. Latino heard Shaun hornily begging Olivier Mira Armstrong to step on his pee-pee. Jesus.
She'd be more likely to stab, quite frankly.
You get Jegadale. Kugor, you get Sariel. I finally remembered to change this. Now what to make it? Spicitis, you get Noriel. Hey, Shaun, I want to aura your ass so hard you can't sit for weeks. Oh boy, you get Sindalphon.
Is that a threat of violence or a sex thing?
Yes. You get Etinsib Ziwa, Drew, Angel of Trash Sawdust, and a secret third thing. You get Hashmal. Crimson Reapers just because of the sides. You get Hutriel. Carver 271, Tarwan. Cameron Coates, Yadathan. Bloodcell, not the bitch boy white ones. Nithael. Beethoven 1201, Cassiel. Anonymous, Atiael. Animated Z, you get Poil. A name written in Japanese so I don't know how to pronounce it. You are going to get Anush. 50 years old, had to Google how to change my name to Angel for the Birds. You get... Hey, you're going to get the Angel Moroni, brother. Second to none, you're going to get Penimu. And now we move on to the inappropriate Joey Wheeler tier, where Shaun, as Joey Wheeler, will describe what kind of mech you have, and I will name it. On that list we have Papa Shaun, break my back like a glow stick, ooh woo.
Okay, wow. Sorry, that one caught me off guard. I can't remember if we read that one last week or not, but either way. Your mech, if I remember who you are, this is gonna be great, because your mech is just a 10-foot tall, guy that you can just kind of sit in and your head pokes out the top, but it's, got really big arms and moves like a gorilla.
And your mech is named Godrilla.
That's actually not terrible.
That's pretty good.
Like that. That's pretty good.
Genuinely, as I said it, I'm like, I'm now Googling Godrilla, because I'm like, yeah, nobody's doing Godrilla.
That's pretty fucking good. Trademark.
Oh, wait. There is a webcomic. An obscure webcomic that has 31 likes.
And only 19 episodes.
And more power to him. Check them out, maybe. I don't know.
Well, we shouldn't give recommendations unless we know what's going on, because for all we know, it could be like the most heinous thing out there, but it's called Godrilla, so it can't be that bad.
Next up, we got my dear old mom.
Your mech is a 30-foot tall, caterpillar.
30-foot tall, so that's not how long it is, that's how tall it is.
Exactly. You gotta use your imagination to figure out how long it is.
Oh my god. And it's going to be called Cool Caterpie.
Okay, I feel like you might get sued by Pokemon for that one.
Yeah, and then you're gonna run right through the headquarters in your goddamn giant caterpillar mech. What are they gonna do? Look!
Break out that Pikachu mech, obviously.
Mortal laws cannot hold you when you're in a giant mech, alright? You have transcended the legal system. Last but not least, we got 6 months and counting.
Your mech is a very lovely, a respectable 15-foot tall, your mech is a respectable 15-foot tall, squid. And yeah, you get around, on land by tentacles, but it really does best in water. Careful, Rem. Fuck me.
And you are going to get, it's going to be called Shaun Rollins Search History. There we go. Thank you all for tuning in. If you want to reach out for a comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, you can tweet us at AnimeConPod on Twitter, or send an email over onto animeoutofcontext@gmail.com, or once again, Patreon. Check it out, $5, so much content. All right, yep. I'm done.
And only more will be coming. But with that, thank you all so much for tuning in. We love and appreciate you very, very much. Haha, I win. And as always, don't fuck your sister.
Do 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 do.